Hey everyone, I'm Dan Fellows, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Fairytale of New York Sour. Let's do it. So the Fairytale of New York Sour is essentially a twist on a New York Sour, which in itself is a twist on a whiskey sour. And for this recipe, we're going to need some pretty simple ingredients which you should already have in the bar. So an Irish whiskey, we're going to need lemon juice. We're also going to need some winter spice syrup from Monin, which gives it the kind of Christmassy notes. You're going to need an egg white or aquafaba and red wine. And then we're going to garnish with orange and nutmeg. So I'm going to start by building the drink in a shaker tin, starting with 50 ml of Irish whiskey. And this is the base of our Fairytale of New York Sour. Next up, we want to go 25 ml of ideally freshly squeezed lemon juice. And this will be our citrus element. Swiftly followed by 15 ml of Monin winter spice syrup. So this has lots of different spices in there, clove, cinnamon, nutmeg, and it just brings that really festive character to the drink. It's like Christmas in a bottle. It's such a good syrup. And then to give ourselves some foaminess, we want to go 25 ml of egg white. You could substitute this for aquafaba, which is chickpea water, if you want to make a vegan alternative, but the traditional recipe obviously calls for egg white. So completely up to you. And then what we're going to do is give this drink a really good shake. So now this is super cold. What you want to do is pass it into the smaller shaker. And then we're going to pass this back across, straining it as we do into the bigger shaker. And this is something I like to do to really enhance that kind of foamy texture. And we're actually going to stick blend this. So if you don't have a stick blender to hand, that's totally fine. You could just use the shaker again, get rid of the ice, and give it a second dry shake. But I'm going to give this a stick blend. And now that's done, we want to pour this into a frozen glass with ice cubes, leaving just enough room at the top for our red wine crown. So top tip on this is to add a pour spout to your wine bottle, and also to let the mix just settle, so that when you pour the red wine in, you get a really nice definition between the red wine and the white sour mix. So I'm just going to wait and let this settle. As I do so, I can prepare my garnish, which is going to be an orange slice or orange zest. So you want to take a nice big slice of orange zest off the edge, just tidy it up so it's nice and presentable. And then this is going to bring a really nice citrus aroma. Again, kind of Christmassy, kind of festive to the drink. And we're going to pop this on in a second. And we're just going to float the red wine down the spoon. And you'll just get a nice layer of red wine through the drink that gives it a really nice kind of dry spice, dark, rich fruit, which complements the whiskey sour and spice underneath. So if you want to put a number to this, you want to add about 15 ml of red wine. And there we have the first version of the Fairytale of New York Sour. To finish, we just want to garnish with some orange zest and a little grating of nutmeg. Just really adds to the aroma of the drink. And there we go. Cheers. Okay, so next up we're going to make a milk clarified Fairytale of New York Sour. And although this sounds kind of complicated, it's actually really easy. So we're going to build this on scales, just to give ourselves a bit of control over how much we're adding. And we're going to start by going with 300 grams in a very big glass of our Irish whiskey. This will be the base of our cocktail, giving it the kind of whiskey flavour which we want in there, and loads of character. And choose your favourite Irish whiskey for this. But with a name like Fairytale of New York, I think it does have to be Irish. Next up, 150 grams of freshly squeezed lemon juice. We then want 100 grams of our Monin winter spice syrup. And then finally for in here, an interesting ingredient, which is a 1 to 5 salt to water solution, so saline solution. And we're going to add 5.5 grams of this. So we won't really taste salt in the final drink, but this is an ingredient I use a lot, which really bridges ingredients together, brings the kind of acidity, sweetness, tannins from the wine, the kind of whiskey booziness through, and it kind of bridges it all together to give it kind of harmony in the drink. Just like in a good dish, it shouldn't be salty, but it kind of seasons the drink to bring everything together and make it harmonious. So that's our liquid portion of the drink. We want to move this to one side, and then in a second big glass, we want to add 150 grams of whole milk. And I know this seems kind of weird, but what we're going to do here is combine the two together, and the citrus in our Fairytale of New York sour mix will actually curdle the milk, which will look kind of disgusting, but that's what we want. So in doing so, the curds and the whey in the milk separate, and you're left with this split, curdled mix, which looks pretty gross, to be honest. So now we just want to give this just a little stir, just to make sure it's really fully split, which it really has. And now we want to pour this through a paper filter back into another glass, and this will clarify. So you want to use something like a coffee filter or some kind of paper filter or muslin, and we're going to very carefully pour this into the filter paper. So you want to add some of the mix, but not all of it, just because this first bit that goes through is a little bit cloudy. So what you want to do is pull the paper filter off, pour this back in, and keep repeating that until we get good clarity in the mix that's draining through. And then you want to put the whole mix through the paper filter twice, and eventually, and it does take a lot of time, you'll be left with 6 or 7 serves of a perfectly clarified Fairytale of New York sour, which is milk clarified and super delicious. So through the magic of editing, I'm going to go and get that now. And this is what you're going to be left with. So as you can see, it's got a beautiful color, really good clarity. Looks like you wouldn't even know the milk was ever in there. But actually, because the whey is still in the drink, you get the kind of creaminess without the heavy milk character. So this is 6 or 7 serves, and we're going to serve this up. So to serve the drink, you want to get a really nice frozen glass with a clear ice block in there. Pour in your clarified Fairytale of New York sour mix. And then once again, being really careful, using our pour spout on the wine, just carefully float the red wine. Once again, about 15 mils on top of the sour mix. And then we're ready to garnish. So this time, we're gonna grate the nutmeg once again on top of the drink for that really nice Christmassy aroma. And then a little dehydrated orange wedge. And there we have the clarified Fairytale of New York sour. I hope you enjoy it. Cheers everyone, and I'll see you soon.